You are now listening to Just Another Year Chicago with your host, Nick Rohde. Hello everyone, welcome back to this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Rohde, and today we're going to be going over the recent play of the Chicago Bulls. But before we begin, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay up to date on all Chicago sports content. And make sure to follow me on Twitter at ChicagoNick, no K. And yes, I do subscribe and follow back. So today, to start off, the Chicago Bulls. Yesterday, the Chicago Bulls defeated the Houston Rockets 125-120 behind another great game behind Zach LaVine and our bench. The Chicago Bulls are currently riding a 2-game winning streak after also defeating the Dallas Mavericks on Sunday. So the Bulls are starting to gain momentum. They're learning how to win, and they're slowly improving a little bit every game, whether that be passing the ball more, better rebounds, better decisions on the shots, managing the clock a lot better. Overall, the Bulls are just playing at a much better level than they were in the beginning of the season. Even though this isn't a bad start to the season so far, though our record is below 500, this is the best Bulls start in the last 4 seasons. 4 seasons ago, we did make the playoffs behind Dwayne Wade, Jimmy Butler, and Rajon Rondo. This is a completely different Chicago Bulls team, and a lot to look forward to right now. A lot of fans still aren't pleased with the record, but I have my Bulls fam on Twitter, and everyone knows that a true Bulls fan knows that this team is on the rise. And that's a great thing to see. To start off, like I said earlier, this team is learning how to win. They're learning how to play with each other. They're learning each game at a time. They're learning how to go against superstars. A lot of these guys are young and haven't played against players like Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Luka Doncic, and so on. They're learning a game at a time how to get this done. And also, this is a huge learning experience for the coaching staff. Though Billy Donovan is a guru at working with young players and developing them into NBA All-Stars, this is a new group for him. This is a new feel for the NBA, COVID, different roster. Billy Donovan's learning as well. So the entire Bulls organization right now is learning as a whole. And it's okay to lose a game or two. And it's not like we're 1-13 right now. We're 6-8. We're on a 2-game winning streak. We've almost beat really tough teams, and that's all you can ask for as a fan. Sure, we got absolutely blown out by the Bucks, but other than that, all of our games have been very close this year. So let's kind of jump in back to the learning how to win. Learning how to win is learning not to have crucial turnovers in serious situations. Learning how to win is to not blow leads. Learning how to win is to hit game-winning shots. But, they're doing that. They're learning when to pass the ball to the right guy. They're learning when to let a ball go out of bounds. They're learning how to not blow leads. Even though it has gotten close, and last night I want to hit on it a little bit, they're getting it. They're learning a game at a time, and that's all you can ask for. It's patience. It's baby steps. The Bulls were not expected to be a playoff team this year. They were ranked in the high 20s out of 30 teams in the NBA this year, where they were going to say a lot of people were expecting them to be another lottery pick team, which I didn't think so. I really didn't. This team had it's almost the same team as last year. This team has a lot of talent, a lot of young talent, a lot of potential talent. They just needed a coach. They needed a front office that was going to promise players that there's hope for the future and for something to fight for. That's something that the Bulls haven't had over the last couple of years with Gar Forman and John Paxson as your general managers and Jim Boylan as your head coach. It's not going to work. That kind of chemistry is not going to work when the player comes into an organization knowing that other players don't like what's going on. The Bulls have a very respectful front office right now. They have a very well-respected coaching staff. And when you have that, and when you have a team that wants to learn and grow as one, that's how you're going to do it. So the Bulls are learning, and they're learning how to win. They're 6-8, best record start in the last 4 seasons, and that's all you can ask for right now. Also, you have a leader now in Zach LaVine. Last year, Jim Boylan said, we're bringing in Thaddeus Young to be our leader. Thaddeus Young came off the bench. Thaddeus Young is the Bulls' power forward. He has played all over the league. He's played on playoff teams, and he's an older player on the roster, considering that our average starting lineup age is 22 and a half years old, which is impressive for 5 players. Youngest is 19, oldest is 24. Well, what else do you want there? But the leader of this Bulls team right now is Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine is playing on a different level than he was last year. And that's no doubt he's playing like an all-star. I tweeted earlier today that Zach LaVine, I think, is going to make the all-star game this year. Is he going to be a starter? No, because that's by popularity. But I think that Zach LaVine has the ability to be an NBA all-star this year, start getting the respect that he deserves, and also putting putting the league on notice that the Bulls do have a star player, not a superstar, but they have a star player. LaVine is averaging 30 points a game so far over the last 12 games. That's amazing. COVID or not, that is very impressive for any basketball player. He's averaging 5 assists. He's averaging 6 rebounds. He's putting up numbers that, great players have over the years that have won championships, that have led teams to success and been a leader. And Zach LaVine only being 24 years old, coming off an ACL injury a few years ago, and being at this star level right now is an extremely impressive story for anyone. So the Bulls are getting the pieces that they need right now. Going into that, they're starting to beat the teams that they should beat, as in they should be beating teams like the Houston Rockets without James Harden out. Though the Rockets still do have a very talented roster, in my opinion. Victor Oladipo, John Wall. You have 2 good players on a team that can score. Anything can happen. And then you have DeMarcus Cousins as well. I think the Rockets could go in as an 8 seed this year, but they're not going to be championship caliber like they were when they had James Harden, who recently got traded to the Brooklyn Nets. But they're beating teams that they should, and they're making it close against teams that, could win a championship. The LA Lakers, they barely lost to. The LA Clippers, they barely lost to. Both those games, they either had leads or the lead just kept changing back and forth. There was never a big deficit in those games. So that's something that the Bulls should be very proud of for themselves for, and that's something that they need to continue to build in order to not only build culture, but to build respect in the league and also confidence within themselves. And the only game I can really think of this year was that was a blowout, was against the Bucks. And that was just a super weird game. Everyone was off. And ever since that game, LaVine's been going off. Kobe White's been going off. There's been much better play out of rookie Patrick Williams. Overall, I think that this Bulls team is on the rise led behind Zach LaVine, except there's a few things that he needs to go on. He's going off. He's playing at all-star level. But, what do I want more out of him? He's missing game-winning shots. There's been 3 games this season where LaVine's been given the ball at the last minute. 1, he airballed. 2, he bricked. And, I can't go out there and do what he's doing. His stat line is super impressive, but his stat line is even more impressive when you get the dub behind it. And Zach LaVine, there was one play, I believe it was against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Thaddeus Young was more open than, Walmart 24/7. He was absolutely wide open. And Zach LaVine took the shot himself. As a leader, you should know. You should take that one quick last second look. And he had time on the clock, too, to shoot the ball. Give it to Thad. If Thad has a more open shot than you, sure, you're the better player. But if Thad has a more open shot, Thad's experience, he can hit shots like that, I would have gone with Thaddeus Young on that. Also, there's been some really big turnovers and key moments at the end of stretches. Also, momentum changers in games. That's something that the Bulls really need to work on in order to, better themselves, to keep the momentum on their side. And last night against the Houston Rockets, they scored 23 points off turnovers. And the Bulls won by 5. But just imagine if you cut that in half, the Bulls would have crushed them. The Bulls would have won by 18, 20 points. There's just got to be little things like that. And also, there needs to be more communication out of that leader on the court. Though Zach LaVine is leading stats-wise, he needs to be conducting guys. He needs to be talking to whoever. Thaddeus Young could definitely do that for the Bulls. And Garrett Temple, who is our point guard that we signed this offseason, there needs to be that one vocal leader saying, hey, go and do this. And Zach LaVine did express his frustration to Denzel Valentine after the Oklahoma City loss, where Valentine was actually in LaVine's way for that final shot. And LaVine's like, hey, it literally looked like LeBron when he was talking to J.R. Smith in the Cavs-Warriors finals, when J.R. Smith just kind of ran out the clock when they had one more shot to try to win the game. LaVine was talking to them, and that's something good to see. But the Bulls need more of that, and they may need more of that out of everybody, especially. And a guy like Lauri Markkanen, for example, who's been on this roster for a while, he was the real starting piece of the rebuild. He's got to do more with that. So, and then in essence, overall, this Bulls team looks like a team. It doesn't look like a bunch of frustrated players that are on the court, just trying to go around and make a basket. That was the Bulls the last 2 years under Jim Boylen, which, I was an okay Boylen fan at the beginning. He's been an assistant coach on some great teams under some great coaches. but how he is as a head coach, I can see why he was an assistant for so long. But there's a difference. In timeouts, people are running up to Billy Donovan and listening to him. They're listening for the play call. During timeouts, guys are high-fiving each other. Guys are talking to each other, giving them advice. During timeouts or even before the game, guys are laughing, they're talking. Overall, there's just communication there. Not from a leadership standpoint, but there's just communication. And, the Bulls did not have that under Boylen. Guys didn't even want to stand by Boylen. Boylen would try to go and high-five his players, and people would just go, all right, thanks, coach. There was really the only relationship that he had with players was Larry Marketing and Kobe White. No one really had anything to say about Boylen when he left. No one was sad. No one was happy. It was just kind of like, he's gone. We all knew it was coming. It's gone. And that's something that the Bulls, they needed that leader and head coach. That's how you win championships. Phil Jackson, Greg Popovich, Eric Spoelstra. You have leaders at your head coach position. So it's really good to see that this Bulls team is, mellowing together, gelling together. Whatever you want to call it. But this Bulls team looks a lot better emotionally, look a lot better physically, and that's something that Bulls fans should be really excited about. So, looking at the Bulls schedule coming up, I'm going to pull it up really fast. Sorry, I didn't have it up before. The Bulls are off tonight. I know that for a fact, which is great. The Bulls they just finished up their West Coast trip. It was their first game back at the United Center last night in a long time. So the Bulls actually don't play till Friday, where they go. They're on the road again, unfortunately, but they're in Charlotte, MJ's team, and the Bulls are 6-8. The Hornets are 6-8. I think that the Bulls, have a decent shot against this Hornets team. You have a rookie LaMelo Ball out there, but then you have Patrick Williams most likely going to defend him a little bit, just for that wow factor. Two rookies going against each other who both could be impactful in the league. So that's super exciting. But I'm looking forward to this Bulls matchup on Friday. Again, they're getting much, much needed rest, especially after a big road trip on the West Coast where they played in some pretty competitive games, even though they came out with a losing record. You can't blame them. The West is just a whole nother beast of NBA teams. So overall, I think Bulls fans should be super happy. I'm super happy. I can't wait to see what's going on in the next couple of games. So we'll have more podcasts on the Bulls coming up. We'll probably have one on Friday previewing the game, or maybe even after the game. I'll let you guys know via Twitter. But with that, that's today's episode. Super short one. But again, we're starting to break up the teams so they're individually. But please remember to hit that subscribe button. Share your thoughts with me. Follow me on Twitter at ChicagoNick. I really want to hear what you guys have to say, what you think about the Chicago Bulls so far. I got one side of Twitter saying this team should be doing a lot better. They need to be closing games. It could be above 500. But then I have the other side of Twitter that goes, hey, they're doing a lot better than they were. They look a lot better, and there's hope for the future. So let's hear your thoughts. But again, thank you for checking in today to Just Another Year Chicago. I'm Nick Rohde, and we'll see you next.